All right, everyone. We are back here at Dover Strength and Longevity Podcast, episode number 2. I am here with Coach Kelly. I am Coach Chris. We're excited to chat today about this idea of not using your feelings as a guide, which is a huge problem. No feelings in the gym. That's what we want here. So when you look, I was thinking about this morning, actually. It came to my mind when I was thinking about this episode. And do you remember the old 80s movies? Tom Hanks, baseball, A League of Their Own.
Yes,
You remember this?
I do.
What a great movie. Like, iconic movie. And he used to always say, there's no crying in baseball. Love it. And I found myself saying this to our clients over the years. There's no feelings in the gym. Just the same way. Just kidding. But for real, though, it really can be a major problem for folks. Using their feelings as a guide seems right, but it is very, very problematic. So we're going to talk all about that today. And I would tell you that most people fail because they are using their feelings as a guide. Just to give you some statistics on this a bit, those who even take action in a fitness program. Most don't, first of all. There's only about, give or take, the statistics vary on this from year to year, but they have stayed pretty close to 16 to 17% of Americans actually take action on their fitness goals, meaning they'll go and join a gym and do something to achieve their goals. But out of that 16 to 17%, only about 1%, maybe 2%, will actually succeed in achieving their goals, which is horrible. Those numbers are terrible. And I believe this is one of those things that really leads to those terrible statistics in a big way. So our hopes today is that we can give you some tidbits and some tips here to help you along. Hopefully this won't happen to you. So, and what we're talking about, just to be clear, is, going to the gym and just doing a little bit of this, a little bit of that, based on how you're feeling today. This feels good. I don't really feel like doing that today. I'm going to do this instead. Maybe what feels good in terms of difficulty or challenge, maybe even, but it's just, it's chaos is what it really is. It's just all over the place. There's no plan in place, which is the big problem. So, I was thinking about, for us, GPS is a great example. When most of us get into a vehicle and we are going to go somewhere that we've never been before, at least me, I don't know, maybe some people, but for me, I'm going to pull up my GPS and I'm going to put in the destination where I want to go and obviously where I am now, and I'm going to get the GPS to help me out, right? What about you? Is that the type of person you are?
Every single time, yes. Every single time.
Yeah. I know some people. I definitely know some people who are like, let's just jump in the car. We'll figure it out on the way, And you could probably get there at some point in time or another, but it's probably going to be stressful and a little crazy. You might even be a little dangerous along the way. Probably gonna have to stop for directions a whole lot and ask for a lot of people's help and advice along the way. And you're going to get mixed stories about where you're going, and you could really be on a wild goose chase getting where you're trying to go. And man, it's going to take you forever to get there versus having some step-by-step, turn-by-turn instructions, which is what the GPS provides us once we put the destination in, right? So I love that picture, and I want you to sort of keep that picture in mind today as we're discussing, because I think everybody can relate to that GPS example. So, because the truth is, in my opinion, that in order for us to get where we want to go, we need a clear, step-by-step, turn-by-turn set of instructions to help us get there. For us, we, for the longest time, now we're celebrating 18 years in business this year at the time of this podcast here. It's 2026. And the largest majority of our time has been HIIT training. It's been a more class-based, if you will, a larger group style training where there might be 20, 30, 40 people in the room, and we're doing circuits, and that was wonderful. And we loved it for many, many years. But then as time went on, we started to see some things that we wanted to start another program side by side with that, semi-private. This one has a very structured plan. The other one, not as much as a plan. Now, for the last 3 years, side by side, we saw a very, very clear difference. The ones that were in a semi-private format, they all had their own programs designed by us for them, specifically to meet their needs, their goals, address, their issues, whatever it may be. And then the other group was none of that. It was just coming and we're basing things on feelings, is what we're talking about today. And when you laid those two side by side for 3 years, day in and day out, there was no question which one was better. There was no question which one produced more results, kept people safer, kept people more consistent, more motivated, all the things, you name it. It was far and away better. So we made the jump completely a few years ago. Or rather, I should say, we started transitioning a few years ago, and it really wasn't too long ago where we actually made the jump completely, where we no longer do any group training or class-based anything, and it's all plan-based. It's all custom programming specifically for our clients because we believe in it so much that we made that jump completely. So the one thing I want everyone to understand as they're watching this is, although I know it seems right that hot and sweaty has no correlation to results, difficulty or effort. If I'm doing something hard, this should be working, right? Nothing. There's no correlation between that and reality, in my opinion. Soreness is another one. Right? I'm so sore from that workout, and oftentimes that has no correlation whatsoever to them actually getting results, right? Nausea, this is kind of crazy, but for some, not me, but for some, if they feel like they are nauseated after a workout, they're like, man, that was a great workout. Has nothing to do with getting good results. So these are all these feelings that we tend to have, and they lead us astray because they really don't have any direct connection, in my opinion, with getting real lasting results. So that being said, I want to chat about some takeaway points for these folks that if they're watching this and they're trying to get strong, they're trying to get fit, they're over 40 specifically, and they want to avoid falling into these traps, and they're hearing what we're talking about and they're like, okay, plan versus no plan. Let's talk about what some of the things we've seen that have really swayed our opinion on this over the years and got us to a point where now that's all we do. So I'll kick it off. The first one for me, we'll do 3. And the first one for me is having a visual map of where you're going makes all the difference in the world. So back to the GPS for a second. We put in the instructions, we put in the destination, we identify where we are now. So we have our point A and our point B. So not only does that then spit out that step-by-step, turn-by-turn instructions, but it also has a map with it, right? And I think for most of us, we look at both. We look at the step-by-step, turn-by-turn instructions so we know where to go, but then we're also looking at the map as we go and we can see our progress as we come closer to the destination. And that's really helpful to make sure that we're on track. So I know that a lot of coaches would say they have a plan in place, right? And they may. But what we've learned over the years is if the client cannot see that map or does not understand that map, then it all falls short. So for us, for example, we have a plan in place, of course, but it's not just for us to see. It's for the clients to see. So we have a map literally on our wall that shows them where they are now and where they're going in the future so that they can get from where they are now to where they want to go. And we coach to this map all the time. We point at it all the time. We talk about it all the time. And even throughout our sessions, right, we say, hey, gang, we are in week 2 of our whatever phase it is, right? And we're constantly talking about where we are on the map. And honestly, this is new for me. This was a sort of revelation, if you will, that has just recently come to me, that it makes all the difference in the world for our clients to continue staying motivated and keep moving forward, is to see that map. So if your coach or whatever plan you're following, whether that's YouTube or something online, if there is not a very clear, visible map that you can follow and you can understand with that plan, step by step, all laid out for you, then you may want to reconsider. So that's my number 1. How about you?
Yeah, so for me, just to piggyback off what you're saying with having that plan, we do it, or you do it for our clients, making them this plan. It takes out all of the headaches and all of the thinking of trying to figure it out yourself, like you talked about before, just walking into a gym and, I'll do a little bit of this today, a little bit of that today, or I don't want to do that today. And I don't know, for me, I feel like the one thing that I don't want to do is the one thing I need to do the most.
Right.
But anyway, just having that plan done for you, and just having it, like you said, seeing the map, seeing it in front of you, it's a lot of thinking, a lot of work to figure it out on your own. Like I've been there before. I've done that before, and it's very hard. And all the matrix behind all of the
Sure.
things and all of the plans and the thinking, the science behind it is so important.
Yeah, no doubt. Well, my number 2 would be that having this plan in place allows us to have a safe method, I guess is the way we would put it, to following a plan, right? So meaning that safe progression is a better way to put that. Safe progression and order, meaning this, that when you go into the gym and you are going to do some strength training, there truly is an order to how things should be done. And unfortunately, a lot of times that there's no... the plan that's in place is not addressing the appropriate exercise order. And what happens is folks are doing exercises at a certain point in their workout where they're already tired, they are already worn down, and they really shouldn't be doing those more complex exercises that are going to really drain them neurologically and physically at a high level when they're already 2/3 of the way through the workout. Versus, how about I do those things that are at the highest risk, require the most from me internally, neurologically, physically, do those first, top priority, right? And then the things that are maybe not as important and more so not as risky, do those a little later. So exercise order is oftentimes never talked about. It's never addressed. People are just randomly doing things whenever. And if you trace that, and I'll actually give you an example of this, this is where most injuries happen. So for me, I have a back injury. This is exactly where I hurt my back. So it was, obviously I was a lot younger and I didn't know these things then, but I was squatting. And squatting, for example, in my opinion, is one of those things that should be done right away, first thing in a given workout. I was doing it last. I was spent. I had very little left in the tank, extremely tired, not as focused, and I was doing heavy squats. It was no exaggeration, it was the last rep, the last set. It was literally the last thing I was going to do. I had gone down for the squat, and all I had to do was get back up and workout would have been done. And in that moment, as I went to get up, because I was tired, lost focus for a little bit, my back blew out. And from that point forward, I've had to deal with a back injury. So that's a life thing, you don't get that one back. So again, and if I would have had a good plan in place, and I would have had exercise order being addressed, and I would have had that safe progression, that would have been a non-issue. So that's my number 2.
All right, so my number 2 would be our tracking, the documentation that we put on the iPads, during every workout. So we call it progressive overload. So like if you're, doing with that, to explain that, if you're doing an exercise, we track that and document that. So then the next time that you come in, you see it on your iPad, and you can get stronger, you can get better, you can progress by either adding a set, we add reps, or we add weight. So just that tracking and that documentation, so that way we can see what we're doing each time, and that we're getting stronger, getting better, working on certain exercises, that we need.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I think that feeds also into that safe progression too, right? Because you're going to move up a little bit at a time, over time, versus what most people do is we talked about this in the last episode, they go way too much, way too soon, because there is no documentation. Half the time they don't remember what they did the last time. So they're just kind of grabbing based on what they feel today, versus our approach would be using the documentation and what we call progressive overload, very small, incremental, step-by-step approach over a long period of time. Gradual increases is much, much safer for people. So I agree with that for sure. Number 3 for me would be this understanding of having a plan, and a plan that is, again, visual. It's a plan that everybody knows, understands, and can follow the plan. I think it keeps people way more motivated as well. We've seen this for sure here, that when folks know where they're going, right, and they're constantly being reminded of where they are on the path, and they're getting closer. We do 6-week training phases in big part for that reason. Just by chance, we happen to be finishing up a training phase this week, so we're in the very last week of the last phase, and people are excited, and they're excited to be done, I think, really. But they're excited because they know, like, oh, there's the finish line. It's right there. I just have to break through that. So I think that when you know where you are on your walk, on your path, it really helps you stay eyes forward, focused, more motivated, and way more consistent too, I think, because people definitely, I see a big difference when there was a plan versus not a plan. People show up way more consistently because they are on a plan, right? They don't want to miss because they have a plan to follow, right? They don't want to lose momentum on their plan. Yeah. Number 3.
And my number 3 is with a plan that recovery is built in. Recovery is automatically built into the plan. So, whether if you are working out 2 times, 3 times, or 4 times a week, it doesn't matter. That recovery will be built into the plan, and which makes your workout safe. So if you work out on Monday, that, whatever the plan is on Wednesday, the muscles that you were working out on Monday are still in recovery. And so on Wednesday, those muscles won't be used. So that's always, part of the plan, keeping everyone safe, so we're not getting injured.
Absolutely. Yeah. More is not always better,
Right.
for sure. Well, hopefully those were helpful for those of you who are watching and listening in. Just to wrap things up today, I would just leave everyone with this final point, that fitness is science. It's not a guessing game. It truly is a science. And if you don't have a plan that lines up with that science, then you will struggle to see results. You will probably encounter a lot of frustration and ultimately injuries if you don't do it the right way. So there really is a right way and a wrong way. No matter what you see in the marketing and all the things out there and all the new fads that come and go, at the end of the day, when you really look at this and you do your research, it is a science. And, I would say without a plan, it's very hard to apply that science to what you're doing. So it kind of goes back to the old saying that if you fail to plan, you plan to fail. How about you?
And I think I would say just trust the plan. Just be all in. We talked about this during our last podcast, with marketing and social media and things like that. And we have so much information thrown at us all of the time. We can get in our head with too much information, and then you start questioning yourself, am I doing it right? Should I be adding this? Should I be doing that? So just be all in and trust the plan, and you will see the progress for sure.
Love it. So quiet the noise. Yeah. All right, gang. Well, that is our takeaways for today, but we want to leave you with one final note as always, and that is our client spotlight for today. One of our favorite things to do. So we today are spotlighting Ralph, who is incredible. So super excited for you, Ralph. You have been just, if I can be honest, you have been really an inspiration for everyone here, not only the other clients, but the coaches as well. Everybody in this community just loves you. And man, we are just in awe by you for so many reasons. But I would just say that just seeing where he started as opposed to where he is now, having come in here really as a beginner and just to see the kind of progress that he's made, talking about all in on the plan, like he represents that really, really well. Like he just follows the plan, whatever it is, and he does it to the best of his ability every single time. And as a result, he's made tremendous progress.
Yes, I agree with that. He is definitely someone that trusts the plan, and his progress shows it. You're such a good energy in the session, and just bringing that energy each and every time. You make everyone smile. Just even when he is traveling, he always makes up. He's so consistent, and it just shows.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I love it. He's got a joy about him for sure that is it really is inspiring. He always seems happy, and he's very encouraging to other people too, which I think goes a long, long way as well. It's huge. So Ralph, we're super proud of you, my friend. Keep up the good work. And that's it for this episode. We'll see you guys on the next one.